watching it today. Okay.
Okay, we're in with Rabbi Reish Lakish, and he's just swimming around in the Jordan. He needs to give me a hand, you know. And Rabbi Bar Chana comes to help him out. He was once from Babylonia, and he says, he gives an oath, and he says very clearly, I want you to know that because of you and your kind that stayed behind, that therefore the whole return, the second return, was destroyed because of the fact of what you guys did not come. And listen to this, the commentator on this Gemara, this Talmud was on Yoma, the 9th page, the second side. Listen to what he says. Something unbelievable. He brings down that we know that the Talmud in the tractate of Brachot, on the 4th page, it says that in the time of Ezra, God wanted to do miracles like he had done previously in the times of Joshua. Think about that. Tremendous miracles. The Jordan splits into 12. There's rocks coming from the skies. There were tremendous miracles that happened here. God wanted the same thing to be done in the time of the return of Ezra. He wanted to, just like Joshua was supposed to be the last stand. Joshua was supposed to come into the land of Israel, and that was supposed to be it. Okay, that was supposed to be it. The same thing holds true as far as the second temple. Ezra was supposed to come in with the Jewish people. They were supposed to rebuild the temple. Actually, Ezra, as we spoke about 2 weeks ago, he came here 4 years after the temple was built, but improved it. But it was supposed to be the end of the history. It was supposed to be the redemption. Supposed to be the redemption. So what happens? So the Marsha, the commentator, says the following, that if the Jewish people would have come in mass, if they would have come and left Babylonia and Egypt, and they would come in mass to the land of Israel, God would have done them miracles, and they would not have needed any walls. What do you mean you don't need walls? Not in your house you need a wall, but you would not need any exterior protection. We could have lived here miraculously amongst the world and all the hostilities and all the nations, etc. We would have not needed a wall. That's what the Song of Songs is telling us, that if you would have come up in mass, they use the word wall. Because we know that when Ezra and Nehemiah came back, what were they doing? Especially Nehemiah, they were building up the walls because Jerusalem was totally open. So it was very, very dangerous to live in Jerusalem. So Nehemiah, in 52 days, he builds a tremendous wall. He's being attacked by the Good Samaritans. He's being attacked by the Good Samaritans. And he has to build this wall because we need some exterior protection. So think about this. So the fact is that when the Torah, when the Talmud says in Brachot that God wanted to do miracles like the time of Joshua, during the times of Ezra, but the sin caused us not to experience those, what sin are we talking about? Not learning enough Torah. Yes, we learned. No, we learned. No, what the sin, according to the Marsha, the sin that caused us not to experience the tremendous redemption, the second and full redemption, what we would have lived here without any fears, without any need for security, etc., guards, armies. What was the sin? The sin was that we did not come up to the land of Israel. That's according to the Marsha. Okay, next, moving along here. Next we have the Kuzari. There's a famous philosophical discussion that's taken place with Rabbi Yehuda Halevi and the king of the Khuzars. And the king says, listen, according to what you're telling me, good rabbi, it seems to me like you Jews are a bunch of hypocrites. Why? Because it seems to me like the base, the major point of Judaism is the land of Israel. And if so, if that's a major tenet in Judaism, And it seems to me like, looking around the world, the king is saying, it seems to me like you're not living up to it. It seems to me like just a bunch of hypocrites. You're saying prayers, you're saying words about returning to the land of Israel, about the benefits, the beauty of land of Israel. But in reality, you're not there at all. In reality, you're not there at all. So what is the answer of the friend, Rav Yehuda Levi? He says, you've embarrassed me. He said, you've embarrassed me with your words of truth. You've embarrassed me because you are correct in what you said. That we really, our words, our learning, our prayers are really like the words of a parrot. You know, a parrot, you say hello, and they say hello. And you say shalom, and they say shalom. Okay, but it's just a parrot, you know, he doesn't got any brain over there. He's just repeating things. He's just saying it by, practice and, coming accustomed to it. So listen to what the rabbi says. He says, yes, you've embarrassed me. And he says the following, that God wanted to return the divine providence and bring the final redemption to the Jewish people at the time of the Second Temple. But what happened was that the people, most of them did not come back. Most of them, and the giants of them, not the simpletons, the giants, the spiritual people, they did not come back. Why? Because they were interested in remaining in the exile, to continue in their occupations, and they did not want to be removed from their mansions and from their daily routines. And God wanted to bring the final redemption, but the great ones, the spiritual heads, continued to live there. Listen to this. Rashi writes on the Tractate of Kiddushin, 69th page, second side. He says the following, that it's talking about, the Talmud's talking about what kind of people came back for the second return, to build up the second temple, what kinds of people, and they were really on the lowest of lows on the totem, on the Jewish totem pole. They were really the lowest of lows. Listen to what Rashi says. Why is that? Where were the great people? Where were the spiritual giants? Where were they? He says, from the kosher Jews, we could not find many, because of the fact that they were sitting in Babylonia in tranquility. And the Jews that went up to Jerusalem, they were being persecuted by the Samaritans, and they had to work, and they were suffering. That's why they didn't come. The Babylonian brothers, our Babylonian brothers, they were living off the good life. And when they saw the hard life of living in Israel, the taxation, and you have smaller homes and smaller cars, etc., and you don't have 2 days off at the end of the week, Saturdays and Sundays, no.
That.
So you don't have that. So they didn't come back. That's the words of Rashi. That's the words of Rashi. Listen to this. There's a little booklet. It's called the 3rd of Elul. That was the day where the tremendous righteous Rabbi Avram Yitzchak HaKohen Kook, when he passed away, was the 3rd day of Elul. Some maybe 80 years ago passed away. Listen to what he recalls a question that was posed to him by a student. Here's what the student asks. This is in that book I quoted. It's in the second part of the book on the 32nd paragraph. A student asked Rabbi Avram Kook Zatzal if he should go to America. Okay, this question is probably 90 years ago or so. He's asked him to go to America or not. Why? Because this certain person who was asking the question, he found a rabbinical occupation for himself in America somewhere. He found some kind of pulpit position in America. So he wants to know whether he should go and be a rabbi in Chutz La'aretz, or he should stay here with all the difficulties of the land of Israel 80, 90, 100 years ago. The Rabbi Rav Kook answered in the following. We must ingrain this in our hearts. Listen to what he said, what he told to him. He told them, it is better to be in business in Jerusalem, any kind of business, than to be a rabbi or in the rabbinate in the United States of America.
Wow.
It is better to be a simpleton, a simple business person, a guy that's yelling, he's selling his strawberries, shekel, tout sadeh shekel, strawberries for a shekel. It's better to be that guy than to be in the rabbinate or to be a rabbi outside the land of Israel.
And it was a lot
The student listened to him and he was successful. The student listened to him and he was successful both in Torah and also in business. He was successful in both ways.
And it was a lot more difficult back then than it is today,
Oh.
folks that are listening to this. A
For
lot
sure.
more difficult.
Oh. Anyways, we went from Abraham. We went down, just to sum it all up. We went from Abraham. We went down afterwards. We went to the tribes, coming down to Egypt, living in Egypt. How was life for the Jews in Egypt? Did we remember the land of Israel? Did we forget it? Coming out of Egypt, only 20%. Why didn't they leave? Where were they holding in life? We saw in the times of the desert with the spiritual giants, those spies that were sent to the land of Israel. They told the truth. They told the truth. It's difficult. Spiritually, it's difficult in the land of Israel. They told the truth, but they were wrong. And we're suffering till this day. The 9th day of Av, we suffer because that was the day when they came back and they had the evil report about the land of Israel. It was evil. It was true, but it was evil. Because we should have said, I understand the difficulties, but we're going on up. We're moving on up and not to the east side. We're moving on up to the land of Israel. It continued when we came back to build the second temple. Unfortunately, it continues till this very day. And once again, we have to understand these difficulties. We're not 100%. We're not 100% responsible. Okay, as we said, we have a lot of roots. It's very, very difficult. But the sign of life is when his fish is swimming against the tide. That's a sign of life. You can be dead and just go with the tide. It's not easy. It's difficult. We see that our forefathers, etc., we have a lot of roots that make it much, much more difficult for us to uproot ourselves and come to the land of Israel. But if we're looking for life, the land of Israel is called Artzot HaChaim, the land of life. If we want to be alive like that fish, we have to go against the tide, go against the stem. Tu Beshvat, a happy Tu Beshvat for all of us, for all the people of Israel.
Street Jew has a comment and maybe something that you might have to address in another lecture. First thing, you said about parallels between forefathers and we draw that even what it was, what it is, and what it will be, right? So I have a parallel from King David about the temple. I mean, the seed level of the first temple really was King David to a degree.
Sure.
Let's just say, in my theory here.
So your theory.
He ran out, got thrown out, was banished, and only had 400 people really that followed him. That was his followers. I'm just wondering if the people that originally came to Israel to build the second temple, maybe were the great-great-grandchildren of these 400 people that followed him. In other words, another little just ragtag,
Interesting. Could be.
parallel to the second temple trying to be built. But I want to jump back to the beginning of the lecture, where you said the seed, you said that the Gentiles want us to do right. And that almost there's some little very spark somewhere down and hidden inside of them that really wants this to happen and wants the Jews to be prosperous and flourish. But it's interesting because the blessing that was given to Jacob and Esau is almost the exact opposite. Like, in other words, if we do well, that they know from this blessing that they will be subjugated, they will be down. So basically, it's strange. They basically want us to be on top of them. Is what you're saying in some, I guess, as I say, cellular level.
Soul level. Okay, let's just get it straightened. Okay, if we come to them and we, I'm saying, it says in the Torah that if you look out Jacob and Rome, you have to, one is either on the top and the other guy's on the bottom. There's no middle road here.
Exactly.
There's no middle road, okay?
So why would Rome, want to be on the bottom?
Okay, so to understand this, what it means is, the truth is that if they're on the bottom, the whole idea behind life, which means if you want to give us, they used to have, when I was a kid, they used to have a radio, give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world. Okay, so if you want in one sentence, what's the purpose of the entire world? The purpose of the entire world, which means the nations of the world, is for them to understand that their success is to subserve themselves to the Jewish people. If they understood, that's why it says, if they understood what the temple meant for them, not for us, they would have guarded it to make sure that nobody would destroy it. Because it's true that when the Jewish people are up, they're down. But their being down is their tikkun, is their correction, and it's their beautiful life. Once they understand that, once they're connected to us, so for them, you know what I'm saying? Imagine this. Imagine someone tells you, you know what? You're going to be the ball boy for for the
New York Giants, Giants.
No. You're gonna, for one day, you get the merit. You're gonna be for the Chicago Bulls, for the Bears. Okay. What are you doing actually? You know what I'm saying? You're handing out towels to people that are sweating all over you. They smell like a bunch of skunks, and and they're breathing on you with their bad breath because they're running out of breath over there. But it's the greatest. Why? Because you don't understand, man. I'm the ball boy for the Chicago Bulls. That is honor. So when that is really on one foot the whole entire Torah. And that's what any book you look, that's what it's talking about. If they would only realize that for their sake, for their benefit, if they took a second place, okay, they would live a tremendous life. That is their tikkun.
And what's crazy is our tikkun really is we need to take a second place to Hashem. It's not like we're on top of them, like we're some big dogs.
Right, exactly.
We're like an ox with like this tremendous yoke on our necks.
Beautiful point. We're both in second place. The Gentiles are in second place. To who? To us. We're also in second place because there's only one. The first place, there's only one. And that's Hashem. Hashem is the first place. So if they understood this, then they would be trying to prop up the Jewish people and lead us. And this would be, for them, this would be a life of tremendous bliss.
It would be the true religion of peace.
Oh.